Start. Okay, good. Then post there. Post here. And get the pop-out chat here. All right. Now I'm just gonna shit. Wrong link. And where? There it is. Stream announcement. Live now at Ev. Promotion. And there. Now it's posted everywhere. All right. And let me just take a swig here. Hey guys, Renner and Shades here, exercising my First Amendment rights stream style, and this is something that I was sort of trying to stay out of for the longest time, mostly because I just didn't really see this as worth my battle, in part because, you know, it touches on some political things and whatnot, and I've sort of been kind of trying to abstain there, but also just because I just saw this as kind of, you know, a very, like, kind of easy target bandwagon. But, you know, with a video that I'm going to be showing you guys today, and with some other things I want to discuss, the main purpose of this stream is basically just to be sort of a life lesson, not just for Dustin Nunn, the subject of this, but for all of us, and for anybody who's wanting to be a content creator or a public figure of any kind and be well known and have an audience and a platform and all that. There's going to be a lot of lessons that we're going to be learning throughout this stream. So let's give some backstory as to who Dustin Nunn is. If you've been following the likes of Damien Skyfire, Gage the Loudmouth, thrash metal guru Steve Trowbridge, you know who Dustin Nunn is already. But for those that don't know, this is basically a very low-tier ranter, I guess you could call him, who mostly specializes in making videos from a very, very far-right perspective on a lot of very controversial and touchy subjects. He is 31, I think, and he does have autism, and I'm going to get this out of the way. If he's watching this, or any of his supporters are watching this, or anybody who's out of the loop on this is watching, I'm not going to be attacking him for his Asperger's or anything like that, because, I mean, I have Asperger's myself. I'm the last person who would go at somebody just for their friggin' mental disorder or anything like that. For me to, you know, be critical of somebody with autism, it would have to be extending far beyond that, and with Dustin, it definitely does. So, got that out of the way, and here's how Dustin came under our radar. So, back when the last, squabble with UTF was happening last summer, and Damien made his final video on UTF and whatnot, final for now, I guess. Hopefully it's final for good. He got a comment on that video from Dustin, basically talking about how he hates UTF, and why does he hate UTF? Because he's a liberal and an atheist. And Damien replied to him basically saying, you do realize that I'm both of those things myself. In fact, most people in this community are left-leaning, at least, and a good bit of us are atheists. I mean, there are people like Thrash Metal Guru, for example, that are Christian, and people like me who are deist. But, there's, variety in here. But, atheism was kind of a popular subject in the community years ago. And, that's another thing a lot of people have been kind of abstaining from, because it just became really tiring, just basically saying the same thing over and over. But that's basically how Dustin got to our attention. Because, it's... there are many reasons to not like UTF. There's a huge laundry list of reasons a lot of us have for not liking him. But complaining about him just being a liberal is really just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, him being an SJW tard is really annoying and whatnot, but, there are much more valid reasons to not like him and whatnot. And Dustin, I feel, is just focusing on just the easy subject, the tip of the iceberg and whatnot. And, that's how he, got my attention. That's how he got a lot of people's attention. And Damien then made a video basically then saying how he doesn't endorse him, how he doesn't condone him and whatnot, how, he might be, a fan of his and whatnot. And I think the only reason he even was ever a fan of Damien is just because of his UTF videos, because he does have a bit of a hate boner for UTF. I looked at his subscriptions some time ago and noticed one of the channels he was subbed to was called Anti-UTF Brigade. So, yeah, he does have a bit of a hate boner for him. And it's not like I do. It's not like I don't, or none of us do, or anything like that. But that's basically what I think is the only reason he even cared about Damien in the first place, is just because of that. And, that's basically what got this to sort of amp up. And, other people started making videos on this guy. People like Gage the Loudmouth, people like Thrash Metal Guru, people like Evil Gangster, who's here in the chat, Atticus, who's also here in the chat, posted a parody today that was really funny, a parody of Mr. Dustin. And, he's been sort of responding to people, and I use responding very loosely, because in one of Damien's videos that was responding to him, it was responding to Dustin doing a response to Damien, in which he hardly ever really addresses Damien at all. He doesn't say anything about him or anything that's being said in reference to him or his video, and just, went on a whole fucking spiel about why he hates abortion and whatnot. And it's what's the point of calling this a response to Damien when you're hardly even addressing anything he says? And it's I understand that there is sort of a difference between a response and a commentary. One of the definitions of commentary on YouTube is when you're interjecting in between a video to make your points and whatnot. And I understand if, the fact that Dustin wasn't doing that, so calling it a response is makes more sense over calling it a commentary. But still, if you're going to be calling your video a response and you're not going to say anything that has anything really to do with the person you're responding to at all, then what's the point? That's one issue with the guy. And like I said, the point of this stream is just to learn a few things and get some life lessons out of the way, because, Dustin kind of represents a lot of how not to conduct yourself, how not to behave, how not to treat people. And, it's something I think it's never too late to learn. It's never too late to, take in this information. What should I talk about next with him? Um, Another thing I should get out of the way is I'm not going to be talking too much about his political views because, again, the point of this is extending far beyond his political beliefs. And I really don't have an issue with him being conservative or being Christian. I don't really have that issue with anybody unless they are using those things to attack people and to belittle people and just be overall unpleasant to people, which is what Dustin is doing. I'm not the kind of person to jab at somebody just for being liberal or being conservative or being an atheist or being Christian or religious or anything along those lines. That's not the kind of person I am. So, this should really be saying something, and hopefully, this stream can really be like the final nail in the coffin here. Because responses to him have been getting kind of old and tired and whatnot. But, yeah, if you're really getting under my radar to the point where, I'm actually saying something, then it should really be saying something. It should also really be saying something if you are, getting under the nerves of a guy like Thrash Metal Guru, who's seen by most of us as being like the nicest guy in the community, and to have a problem with him, that really says more about you than it does him, I think. So, is there anything else I wanted to talk about as far as, like, general problems and whatnot? Oh, yeah. Another thing about him that, a general problem that a lot of people can take away from is he really responds poorly to criticism, and already, it's a really bad look to have if you're going to be coming on here and making content where you're giving opinions, especially, opinions on touchy, controversial subjects, and reacting very negatively to if people disagree with you or correct you or say anything in response to you whatsoever that isn't like an agreement or anything like that, because it's really naive to come on here and act like everyone's going to like you. Nobody's going to disagree with you. You're going to get really big and everybody's going to respect you and all that. It's really naive to come on here with that in mind. One thing that everybody should understand is that you should always expect reaction. No matter what you do, you should expect a reaction. Whether a positive reaction or a negative reaction, you should be expecting a reaction, and you should know how to, conduct yourself properly if a negative reaction comes, because not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to agree with you. People will say things that might be a bit mean to you. They might, or if they aren't mean, they're still, critical. And, you should be able to handle that fine and not make a huge deal out of it and get really up in arms and angry about it, especially to the point where you are blocking them and deleting their comments. And, I don't have a problem with blocking generally, because, there are people that, are like, that do, are really bothersome and they are, harassing, and, instances like that are, kind of, acceptable to block people in. The only times I really have a problem with blocking are one of three scenarios. The first is if you are using a blockchain like what Steve Shives does, or if the person is being civil and, isn't being, super mean to you, and you still block them anyway when they're, not even being super harsh or anything. And the third is if they do absolutely nothing and you're just blocking them for no reason whatsoever, for whether it's like for guilt by association reasons, or if they just don't, or if they just haven't said a word to you, which was the crux of the second video I made about UTF way back in the day, because I got blocked for when I hadn't even, like, interacted with him on Facebook at all. But outside of those three instances, I don't have a problem with blocking. But what Dustin is doing, he deletes their comments and blocks them. That's why if you go to any of his videos, you won't see any negative comments on his videos. And again, not a good look to have. It's not a good look to be able to dish it, but not be able to take it. Because that says that you really aren't ready for this. And I really don't like telling people to stop making videos or to get off the internet or anything like that. But if you're not at the right maturity level to be doing anything like this, then this really isn't for you. And it's really unfortunate to say. That's why if you're going to start a YouTube channel, or if you're gonna, enter the public eye and whatnot and be a public figure, you should be ready. You should be mentally and emotionally ready to, handle any negativity that comes your way, any disagreement that comes your way, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Especially, again, when talking about, touchy subjects and whatnot, especially political subjects. We know this already, that, it's hardly ever fun at all talking politics, because it's never going to be a one-sided debate. And it's really, again, naive and foolish to think that this is all going to be a one-sided debate. And I really look down on people that have that kind of outlook, expecting everything to be a one-sided debate. This doesn't even just apply to Dustin. It applies to a lot of people that have this sort of... They're expecting everything to be one-sided in their favor. Doesn't work like that. And for a guy in his fucking 30s, that's really, really sad. You'd think that a guy that old would have gone through, various emotional points and have matured from them as a result. But no. He's acting basically like a fucking stupid 13-year-old when they create their first account and whatnot. And, they take inspiration from their favorite content creator. And, they're like, I want to be just like him. I want to do this. I can do this. And they think they have the talent and the personality to be just like that person. A lot of the time they don't. It develops over time, at least. And because you're not going to get it right away, this is why accepting criticism from people is important, because it will benefit you. All of us have been through these motions and whatnot. We've all, tried doing something, got some constructive criticism for it, and have improved from them. And if you haven't improved, then that's the thing that kind of puts you into lost cause territory. And that's basically where Dustin is ending up, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself for that. The next thing that I'm going to show you that relates to another problem with him, we are going to look at... Hold on. Make sure this is working. No, we're not going to that. We're going to webpage. So, this is Dustin. This is what he looks like. He basically looks like a really creepy potato man and whatnot. He has really scary looking eyebrows and a very creepy looking mustache. And hair that looks really messy and whatnot, that kind of sticks up or something and whatnot. He looks like a freaking 80s cartoon character. It's kind of creepy. So we're going to look at his about section of his Facebook page here that he created for himself with the @the real Dustin Nunn, which, if you want to create a page for yourself, I guess that's not really a problem. Like, I think, how many subscribers did I have when I created my page? I think I had like 200 or 300 subscribers when I created my page. He has about 300 subscribers, which, I'm guessing most of them are either inactive accounts or they're people that subscribe to dislike, and, eventually upon finding out that he deletes all their comments, they just think it's a waste of time when he's just going to keep doing that and whatnot. That's why he doesn't really get, a lot of, views on his videos or anything. So, anyway, we're going to look at this. He's born on October 28th, 1988, so that makes him 31. So, favorite books, comic books, Garfield, Sonic the Hedgehog, and, of course, my comic books that I created myself, which, that's kind of dumb that he's putting that there, saying that his favorite books are the ones he makes. That's like if I were to say, my favorite YouTuber is Ranter in Shades. It's like, yeah, your favorite YouTuber is yourself? Like, what the hell? That's totally not egotistical. Personal interests. I am a WWE fan. I love professional wrestling. Other sports entertainment companies are okay too, but I love World Wrestling Entertainment. I draw, create comic books, and when I'm not busy drawing, I like to play a video game or two to help relax my mind whenever I run out of ideas. So, okay. About. I'm an adult with Asperger's syndrome, which is the highest functioning level of the autism spectrum. And the fact that he's going out of his way to, mention that is what leads people to believe that he is using his autism as a deflection shield to, to deflect criticism and act like he, you can't criticize me, I have autism. And it's like, no, dude, that's not how it works. I have fucking Asperger's too. Do you see me acting like that protects me? It doesn't. It really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't protect you from criticism. People will do it regardless. They are not going to care if you have autism or anything like that because, you're still doing something that is worthy of calling out. And so it really doesn't mean anything. So that's why it's really not a good idea. This is why I hardly ever really mention it anymore. Aside from maybe outside of maybe trying to explain something, but I hardly ever mention having Asperger's anymore is because of people like this that just really make the rest of the autistic population, the rest of them look bad. Because of people like this. This is a fan page about me, my comic books, and the artwork that I do. And now, the cream of the crop, his biography here. My name is Dustin Nunn, and I am an adult with autism. I am a stay-at-home comic book artist from Marietta, Ohio, and the intent here isn't to dox him or anything like that, because it does require more than just a city and whatnot. I just realized I forgot to plug my speakers in. But, if you're, please don't, try to track him down or anything like that. Because that is not, because I'm not going to fucking condone that at all. But another thing I want to mention about this, he's, actually, no, I'm not going to, mention that yet. I'm going to mention it later in this. I've been drawing since I was 4 years old, and I was diagnosed with autism when I was 5 years old. I never give up, and I never will give up. I don't know the meaning of those stupid words. I may be autistic, but I never give up my goals in life. And, I guess that's good for you, but still, honestly, you're not exactly this really inspiring figure or anything like that. So, all this is really serving is just to fucking stroke your ego. And if you really were not the type to give up, then why do you block and delete comments that are critical of you? And overreact whenever you are receiving criticism, if you really are not the kind to give up or anything like that. But yeah. Chris Chan's long-lost twin, yes, that is a good person to compare him to. I really don't like comparing people to Chris Chan because I feel it's kind of an extreme thing, but in this case it's accurate. And Coffee Chugger, my man, what is up? Where was I? People who have said to me that my dreams will never happen can kiss my Marietta, Ohio butt for all I care. I am trying so hard to get famous people to answer me on Facebook and people that I do know or do not know to answer me on Facebook as well. And now this is basically showing us that he is, entitled to attention. And that is really kind of a arrogant and self-centered way to go about this. Acting like you are deserving of people's attention, especially celebrities' attention. They have a lot, you might have fucking Asperger's, but that doesn't mean that people should be giving you attention. Lots of people have Asperger's, and, there needs to be more about a person to be deserving of attention from people than just having a mental disorder and whatnot. But moreover from that, it's really just, dumb to go at this anyway, because you are, like I said, demanding that people give you attention, acting like you are entitled to attention, when, again, it's not how it works. I am a gifted person, I'm sure you are, and I never give up my dreams of being what I am, who I am. I am what I always will be, a stay-at-home comic book artist. I do not work at regular jobs here in Marietta, for example, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, etc., because I was put on Earth to draw, not flip burgers and give people Happy Meals and stuff like that. And more arrogance right here, acting like you're above, working regular jobs, and not even just fast food and whatnot. There are jobs outside of fucking fast food. These kinds of jobs really just exist for people who just have no work experience and are a way for people to be able to make money to get by and whatnot. So that's why, they exist. I worked one summer for Domino's delivering pizza. So everybody does this at some point when they're getting their foothold in the work world and getting work experience and all that. It's never meant to be like a permanent career and something you do for the rest of your life. It's really just something to sort of hold you over while you pursue your actual, goals and try to, get ahead so you can get to a point where you can leave the job and, do what it is that you're actually wanting to do. So it's really a temporary kind of thing, but still you're acting like you're above this, which is another really arrogant and not good way to go about life. And this isn't me saying that you should give up your comic books or whatever it is that you're wanting to do, but you need to have a fallback, and that's what jobs such as fast food exist to be, fallbacks. When I'm not busy drawing, I like to play a video game or two, watch old professional wrestling matches on YouTube, post a lot of stuff about me and my comic books on Facebook, spend time with family and friends, the idea of you having friends, you name it. I am a huge wrestling fan. I am a huge video gamer. I love video games. It gives me something to do when I run out of some drawing ideas. I don't think this is entirely relevant when this is just supposed to be about your comic books and whatnot. I don't think it's really worth it to mention, I love video games and stuff. One of my favorite video game systems is the Sony PlayStation 3, because I like meeting players online and telling them about me and my comic books. And this gives the impression that you're just basically making the entire conversation about yourself and not taking an interest in others and actually having a regular conversation. You just want all the attention and all the discussion to be centered around you, which, again, is self-centered and entitled and arrogant, and nobody likes that. I try everything I can to get people's attention, especially the famous ones such as Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Dr. Phil, etc., because I want to be seen and heard just like other people. And it's like, yeah, people do all want to be seen by someone and whatnot. Still, though, this is more of that entitlement, acting like you are deserving of the attention, especially of people like fucking Oprah, Ellen, and Dr. Phil and whatnot, which, Ellen, I'm sure that hasn't aged well, but, you might not be incorrect about, the just like other people thing, but still, nobody likes being harangued and harassed and bugged for attention and whatnot. It annoys people, and it'll lead to people resenting you and really just not respecting you at all. I had a rough time growing up. I hated middle school and high school because people treated me different. People in preschool and elementary school were good friends to me, but later on in middle school and high school, that was a different story. And it's not hard to see why that might be, because if this is how you treat those people that you were trying to be friends with and whatnot, well, I'm just saying, there's probably a reason why they didn't give you the kind of treatment that you're wanting, because you're making it all about you. You're not taking an interest in them. You're basically just demanding their attention and demanding that they treat you a certain way. And, in preschool and kindergarten, when people are not as perceptive as to, who is worth associating with and whatnot, that's why, people treated you different back then. But, as they grow older and, take more notice of how certain people are acting, they realize, hey, this Dustin guy, I really don't like being around him because he makes me really uncomfortable and always wants to talk about his stupid comic books and his other stupid fucking interests and maybe even politics too and whatnot. And I'm sure that probably, did a number to really get people to be like, yeah, I'm going to distance myself from him. I really want nothing to do with this guy. Because again, these are attitudes that people don't like. But like I said, I never give up my goals in life. Dustin Allen Nunn never quits. Gender male. Let me catch up with the chat. Dusty Numbnuts, because I refuse to call him Dustin, reeks of pride, yet has not presented any reason to warrant it. His crown is made of tinfoil, which, much like himself, is destined to the landfill. I feel that his parents are the typical conservative boomers that use their kids' innocence and gullibility to brainwash him into believing the garbage seen on Fox News. Could be, and whatnot. And of course, because they're his parents, they're not going to, they're wanting to sort of tread lightly because, oh, he has Asperger's and whatnot. We need to be really careful with him and whatnot. And they just, end up just enabling him, and he never fucking grows and learns and changes as a result of anything. Which, that's pretty poor parenting on their part. So now that that's done, now we're going to go to this. I think, most recent video, if not one of the most recent videos that he posted, my response video to the idiots who made response videos to me, which that's definitely, a good first impression there. Calling everybody that, responds to you or criticizes you, calling them all idiots and whatnot. That's another thing that isn't going to get you the respect you want, because the least you can do is, have some respect for your critics, acknowledge them, and treat them as, follow that golden rule that we learn when we're in kindergarten. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you don't want people making fun of you, if you don't want people being mean to you, maybe you shouldn't be being mean to them, So, hopefully the sound works okay. I think I did the necessary sound settings so that you're hearing the desktop audio here, and it's not just going to be coming from my speakers and into the microphone. So, let's begin. And one other thing that I want to address, another thing, I just remembered something else. Another problem with his content is, notice, I don't know how well you can see this, but it says down here, streamed live 22 hours ago. So he doesn't even have it in him to either get an actual camera or hit record on his webcam. He relies on OBS or whatever he uses to stream with. He relies on doing live streams to record his videos because he's just that inept at video editing. Even in like a really simple, mediocre editor like Windows Movie Maker or iMovie or whatever, he can't even, do that. And you'll know me, I'm known for kind of having a bit of a high standard when it comes to editing. I really don't like, shitting on somebody for being lazy with their editing, but for me, the bare minimum, I don't think it's that hard to load a video recording into an editing software and edit out the pauses, edit out the stutters, edit out the repetitions. I don't care if, people are going to say jump cuts are for the devil and whatnot, because they're not. That's what they're there for. And I also don't think it's hard to, have some background music layered underneath to keep the video from sounding too dry, and having some images and clips to throw on, whether it be for visual gags or whether it be for showing evidence of what you're talking about. These, to me, are really simple things to do. I don't think they're really challenging, but, guess that's too hard for old Dusty here. All right. Is this an elitist neckbeard that ruined rock and metal? No, this isn't a music elitist. This is a political elitist. Mr. WWF Attitude Era. He looks like he's squatting in a college dorm. I don't even think he goes to college. I think he looks like he probably thought that he was like too good for college or something. But yeah, beginning.
All right, let's get this crap over with. This is a response video to those who made response videos to me in the past. You think I don't know pro wrestling is not a work?
See, this is the kind of stuff you edit out.
Not a work. Well, I know it's a work. I've been watching pro wrestling all my life.
I don't think anybody was talking about how pro wrestling isn't a real job or whatever. I don't think anybody is saying that. So this is some misinterpretation or lack of listening comprehension on your part, because I'm pretty sure they agree that it is as real of a job as anything. You really think we're the kind of person to do the get a real job thing? Like, come on. I mean, I do think you should get a job, but, I'm not going to use the word real there, but just a job, because I don't think this is exactly a productive use of your time. Just coming on here and just making these, video after video, like multiple times a day, every day. It'd be one thing if you're like a news commentator, like Philip DeFranco, for example, or even somebody like Styx Hexenhammer, who mostly talks about like news stories and whatnot, like on the daily and whatnot. But you're not even, trying to be impartial like Philip DeFranco usually is. So this really shouldn't be, you really can't be putting yourself on that level, but continuing.
It's been fake since day one.
Again, I think that's something everybody knows. Even me, somebody who doesn't watch wrestling at all, knows that it's like all scripted and all that. Like, anybody who doesn't believe that, I think, is kind of delusional.
And for those of you who say I make fake accounts here on YouTube, bullshit. I don't make fake accounts.
The reason people say that you make fake accounts and bot accounts is because they see that these other accounts that are all subscribing to each other, and they're the only ones leaving comments on your videos, and they're probably the only people that clicked like on this video. They assume that that's all by you. I am, I guess, agreeing with you that it is kind of a lofty assumption, because there's, no real evidence for that. But hopefully you can provide some evidence that, proves that these aren't fake accounts.
Before I met those who made response videos to me in the past, I've had idiots on my end on YouTube pretending to be me.
So, in other words, joking, I guess. At least in this context, anyway.
Those are not my real accounts. This here is my main account and my main account only.
And something I want to say about that wording right there, calling this your main account. To call an account your main account, that kind of implies that you have other accounts. What I think you mean to say is that this is your only account and that you don't have any other accounts, because main account implies that you have, a backup account or a side account for other kinds of content and whatnot. And there's nothing wrong with that, but calling this your main account is sort of lending credence to those people saying that you have bot accounts and whatnot. It sort of lends credence to that, because this is kind of implying that you have other accounts. So be careful with your wording next time.
I do not and never will make other accounts.
Okay.
And like I said, yes, I do know pro wrestling is all just a work. Yes, I know it's fake and scripted and predetermined and all storyline and all kayfabe and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it still shouldn't be allowed. It's still, like I said, if I was a pro wrestling company owner, which I'm not one, but if I was one, I would ban transgender rights and gay people.
Why, though? See, this is the issue that people are taking with this. They're not saying that this isn't a real job or anything like that. They're saying that because this is a position of employment, then they, as a place of employment, cannot, discriminate their employees or anything like that, and, even if you, and another thing that is the reason why people are taking issue with you saying this is, well, why? What reason, does a wrestling company or any company for that matter have to not allow someone who is LGBT to work for them? Like, there really isn't any good reason. They're just as capable of performing a task as anybody. If they, have the ability, they don't have any like physical, ailments or anything like that, and they can perform the task well, then, what really is the issue?
Trannies, queer men, lesbian women, and bisexuals for wrestling in the ring.
Wow.
I would ban, if I was the owner of a regular sports company that's not pro wrestling related, like the NFL, the NBA, and vice versa, I would ban LGBT rights in sports too.
Again, excuse me. Why though? If they have the, ability to play the sport, they have the, agility and the, physical fitness to do it, then again, is there really any issue with allowing them to participate in the sport? Because, not all sports are even combat sports or anything like that. Like, I understand why people have, the issue with, with trans people in combat sports and whatnot, because there might be a, an uneven matchup and whatnot. But you have to understand that, that they can still, get themselves in the proper, physical condition to be participating in this. So there really shouldn't be a problem. Which is why, the only reason I think you have this problem is because, ew, they're icky, gross.
I am sick and
Damo's
tired
here.
of the LGBT community crap pushing their rights on people.
They aren't pushing their rights on you, though. All they are saying, all they are wanting is two things. One is respect. Just basic respect as a human being. Treat them the same way that you would treat, a straight person, or, I really don't like using this word, cis person. And the other thing they're wanting is, just, to be able to have the same opportunities and whatnot as everybody else, whether it be marriage, whether it be employment, whether it be being able to go somewhere or do anything. That is all they're wanting. It isn't pushing their rights on you. They aren't, sorry. They aren't pushing an agenda. That is all they're wanting. So the fact that you're interpreting that as, them pushing an agenda, again, says a lot about you, doesn't it?
I'm getting sick and tired of drag queens pushing their rights on children.
This I can actually agree with. I don't think that drag shows and whatnot, I don't think that's really a good place for, really young children and whatnot. But, like older kids, like, teenagers and whatnot, I don't think it should be a problem for them. But if we're talking like elementary school age kids, I can agree with you there. So, see, I can actually, I can actually agree with you. No, I'm not that mean of a guy. I'm not so bad, right? But, I'm not going to use that as reason to say that the drag shows and whatnot shouldn't exist. I just think parents should, wait a little bit if they're wanting to bring their children to these things and expose them to these things. Wait until the kids are a little older is basically all I really feel about it.
I'm getting sick and tired of seeing gay this and gay that in TV shows.
And again, I can agree with whenever it's like obvious that they're really just, shoehorning it in and whatnot for no other reason than just to have it in there, just, tokenizing and all that. I can agree with you there, but that doesn't change the fact that not every, show or movie that has a, an LGBT character or a trans character or a character of a different race or anything like that are doing it just for the sake of trying to appear woke or trying to fulfill some quota or anything like that. They might just be doing it because they, have a good character in mind for the story that they are trying to tell, and it works. Not all characters like this are in there just for the sake of that, and again, having that idea in mind, I think is a really not good way of looking about it. Like recently I was watching a really, really well done video essay about Hey Arnold, and one thing that was mentioned in this was that, it didn't really, that there wasn't any like forced diversity within the characters. Like there's a lot of different kinds of characters in there. Characters of different races, characters of different, origins and whatnot. Characters with like really unique stories to them. And so, and did it feel like they were forcing it in there? No. So that should be proof enough that they aren't forcing it in. So you should really be saving your outrage for when the character really is super one-dimensional and there's nothing to them than just, oh, I'm gay. Or, actually, let me do this again. I'm going to do this. I'm gay. If that's all they're fucking doing and whatnot. Save your outrage for that. But outside of that, there really shouldn't be an issue, so, nah. So, let's, again, check the chat. Dusty be the type of guy to say, I didn't set the fire, even if I do smell of gasoline and have lighters in my pockets right now. Pretty much. Every time Dusty Nuts runs his trap, it's like, no, dig up, stupid. Yes, Dustin is this guy's name, Mr. WWF. Yeah. As long as being gay isn't their only personality trait, I have no problem with gay characters. Exactly. So yeah, there shouldn't be any problem at all. Even with fucking Arthur, when they had the gay wedding for Mr. Ratburn, like, you can make the argument, I think I said this in one of my past streams, that you can make the argument that he was always kind of an eccentric kind of character. So, it's not like, it's like, oh, I'm gay, he's gay now, and whatnot. Like, you can make that argument, and, with Hey Arnold again, it was like sort of a similar thing with Mr. Simmons. Like it's kind of confirmed now that he's gay, and even if it might, not have been the case at the time of the show's original run, you could still make the argument for it because he has, these kinds of, traits, and that's not a problem. So, continuing.
Comic books, cartoons. In my honest opinion, I think people who are queer, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender are pushing their orientations on people, especially on the straights, way too far.
They aren't doing that. And on that note, not only are, they not doing, as you're saying they are right there, but to harken back to that golden rule, if you don't want them supposedly pushing their agenda on you, maybe you, sir, shouldn't be pushing your agenda on them. Ever think about that?
Now, onto the pro wrestling subject yet again. Are you, for those of you pro wrestling fans who have been watching my YouTube videos here on my channel, are you familiar with Santino Marella?
Nope. I'm
From
not.
WWE. Santino Marella played his storyline sister, Santina Marella. And he wrestled in women's matches.
You yourself said that this is all scripted storylines and whatnot, so this is all for the sake of the story. So what's the problem?
In WWE, and that isn't right.
It doesn't even sound like the guy is trans or anything like that. He's playing a character. Again, you already said that, pro wrestling is, scripted bullshit and all that. So, again, this is just for the storyline. There really shouldn't be an issue here if it's suiting the story,
A man should not wrestle in a woman's match. Same goes for Nyla Rose. I mean, sure, she's not a man dressed up as a woman. She's a man who is now a woman from sex change reassignment surgery.
Thus, making them that gender. That is how it works.
Pro wrestling in the women's division in AEW, for example, and that isn't right.
Why?
I don't care if pro wrestling is a work. I don't give a shit. It still shouldn't be allowed for. That shouldn't be allowed for a transvestite to be. I'm sorry, transgender, tranny, whatever you want to call it, to be wrestling in a pro wrestling rings women's division, in a pro wrestling company's women's division. It's not right. It's the work of Satan.
The work of Satan. Yep. You see, he's shoehorning, religion in here, using religion to justify everything. And like I said, I don't have a problem with you being Christian, just as long as you're not justifying saying stupid shit or doing stupid shit and just being terrible to people with, your religion, which is exactly what you are doing here, saying that this is the work of Satan and all that.
And for those of you who've done response videos to me in the past, if you don't like what I'm saying, well, tough shit. And to Damien Skyfire.
I love the way he said his name. He's like, Damien Skyfire. Like, he's gritting his teeth and saying it under his breath because he just hates having to acknowledge him. Damien. I bet that makes you feel so good. Damien Skyfire. His video made me laugh heartily. Good. I hope that part especially made you laugh heartily. Because, it's not really a big deal. Just say his name. It's not that challenging. Okay, that really dried my mouth. Shade EXE has stopped working. Alright.
Who've been calling me a potato?
As a joke?
I am not. You listen to me right now, you hippie.
And he's a hippie now, too, apparently. Well, just because he has long hair and wears a bandana, that makes him a hippie, apparently.
I am not a fucking vegetable.
Gee, you don't say. It's almost like it's a joke or something. Wow. Almost it's a joke on how you look really kind of dry and pale and whatnot, like potatoes tend to look, and how your face kind of reminds us all of Mr. Potato Head, which, you know, Don Rickles is now rolling in his grave now. So, yeah. Don't you love having to explain a joke to somebody who's just so inept at being able to analyze things?
And for those of you assholes who've been posting comments saying that I love cock, I am not fucking gay.
And so here's another thing, you know, now I'm going to explain this. Usually when people give these really angry reactions to, you know, being casually called gay as a joke and whatnot, just to sort of, you know, jab at you a little bit, and then they go, I am not gay! Usually the idea is that those people are in the closet. That's why they say that towards you, especially since you are giving that reaction right there. Listen here, buddy, I'm not gay. I don't love cock. You know, if you're really that comfortable with your sexuality, then that really shouldn't bother you that much. If you really had a thick skin, it wouldn't bother you either.
I'm straight. I love women. I don't care what their size of their boobs are.
Okay, you should have been very careful with that wording there, too, because, you know, out of context, that sounds kind of bad. Like, that could include prepubescent boobs. So, yeah, you should have thought that through more carefully.
And by women, I mean straight ones only.
You do realize that bisexual women are attracted to men, too? I mean, yeah, sure, they're also attracted to women, but it's not going to stop them from being in a relationship with a man or having sex with a man or anything like that. It's not going to stop them, so, you know, it's not like they're tainted at all or anything like that. So,
I am not into transgender women.
And another thing I can agree with you on, you know, that's just a personal preference of mine, and I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong for having that preference, because that is a valid preference to have. Not everybody is comfortable, you know, with, you know, having sex with or romantically pursuing somebody who has, you know, the opposite gender genitalia and whatnot. Not everybody's comfortable with that, you know, and I don't think it's a bad thing to be comfortable with that, but, you know, there are people that don't really have an issue with that, and that is okay. But yeah, you do you, I guess.
I am not into lesbian women.
I mean, I don't think you really need to say that. It's kind of a waste of time trying to pursue a woman that isn't even attracted to men at all. So you didn't really need to say that at all, you know, because like, what's the point? They don't want to date you. They don't want to have sex with you. They don't want to kiss you. They don't want to touch you. So, you know, what's the point of even clarifying this? Unless you're trying to say that you're not even into, you know, like watching lesbian porn or anything like that. You don't like the idea of girls kissing each other and touching each other and doing all that, you know, really steamy things with each other.
A woman's vagina size don't matter to me. Her butt size don't matter. Her boob and nipple size don't matter.
Again, be very careful with how you're saying that, because, you know, I'm sure someone out there could use that as evidence of you being a pedo. I'm just saying.
I don't care if she's black, white, Asian, Hispanic,
Good.
What have you.
Good. Okay.
I don't care if she's short, tall, fat, thin, whatever.
Okay, good.
You do not have the rights to come onto my YouTube channel and talk shit about me.
Yes, they do. That is what the comment section is for. The comment section exists for people to leave feedback. Whether it be positive feedback or negative feedback, it exists for people to give feedback of any kind. And if that really bothers you, then you can friggin' disable your comments like all the other, cowards that just don't want to listen to anything that doesn't, agree with them. And maybe disable their ratings too and whatnot, because they just don't want to look at that terrible, terrible like to dislike ratio and whatnot. You can just be like that and whatnot if this really bothers you. But honestly, if you're really going to, it sort of goes against the idea of, being a free speech advocate if you're just not going to, allow people the right to speak their mind and whatnot. And that's another big thing to understand about the nature of freedom of speech. It's that freedom of speech has, and always will be a two-way street. You may have the right to say whatever you want, but other people, in turn, have the right to say what they want in response to you, because that is how free speech works. Like I said before, this isn't a one-sided thing, and it's never going to be a one-sided thing. The least you can do is accept that. Otherwise, you might not be as pro-free speech as you might be letting on. Just saying.
In my comment section, by saying, "Oh, Dustin is gay. Oh, Dustin loves cock.
How dare you make jokes about me?
Dustin loves dick. Dustin, no. I will. If I see any more of those comments, you'll be banned.
Ooh.
From my YouTube channel. I don't care how many response videos you make about me.
Oh, I'm sure you don't care, because, if you really didn't care, then why would you be making this video? It's a classic contradiction. If it isn't a fallacy, it should be.
You asshole YouTubers.
You asshole YouTubers.
Such as Damien, Skyfire, Gage, the Loudmouth, the Evil Gangster, and vice versa.
Vice versa means the other way around. You do know that, right? Just use that correctly. And hey, you're actually, naming names. That takes balls. Good on you. You did what, you were failing to doing in your other videos, responding to those mean, nasty haters, and actually giving some, names and, examples and whatnot. I would like you to elaborate on that, but good on you for not being afraid to do that, I guess.
If you YouTubers do not like my videos so much, then don't respond to me.
And this I can also sort of agree with. I was kind of saying earlier in the stream how, I'm hoping that this stream can be kind of the nail in the coffin for this, and that hopefully no more videos on him need to be made. But, this is sort of, the reasoning behind my don't watch can be valid video, which that video is mostly having to do with the subject of deplatforming and whatnot, because the video isn't even saying that it's always valid or anything like that, or it's never valid or anything like that. It can be in instances like that, but again, part of, free speech is having the ability to speak your mind and, react however they will to anything that you have to say. So, maybe they will eventually leave you alone and just leave you to fucking wallow in your own bullshit, but, not everybody is going to leave you alone just because you say to.
Block me. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, yes, I'll bet you won't give a fuck. You won't just, be like, haha, look at this little coward. He fucking blocked me. Haha, what a little bitch. You're totally not going to be saying that when you find out that somebody blocked you or anything like that. I will hold you to that.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a hairy rat's ass. If you don't like my Bible thumping mouth so much, if you don't like me telling the truth like it is, that being LGBT is wrong, which it is,
No, it isn't.
then don't make response videos to me, damn it. If you don't like me saying that Black Lives Matter, the terrorist group, is a terrorist group.
Okay, now here's the thing with this. This is another thing that he likes saying a lot, that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. Now, if we're talking about Antifa, then I could agree. Because they are the really violent ones, the ones that are always like, causing mayhem and all that. There is a difference between Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And it's that, while yeah, there are some violent people within Black Lives Matter, which is, the main reason why I can't really get behind the movement. Outside of those kinds of, instances and, people within the movement that have this really dogmatic, elitist attitude and whatnot, like fucking Gazi Kozo and Sensei, whatever her name is, that starts with an A. Outside of those kinds of people, there really isn't an inherent problem with Black Lives Matter. They're basically an example of a group with good intentions, but not always great execution. All they're really wanting to do is just, peacefully protest and, spread a message and whatnot, which really isn't a problem at all. Which is why I'm not one of these people saying they don't have a right to protest or anything like that. I don't condone the riots, obviously, but the regular protests and whatnot really shouldn't be a problem because, again, welcome to free speech.
Which they are. Tough shit. Does Black Lives Matter the statement matter? Well, of course. Blacks are human beings just like you and me.
Okay.
But all human lives matter, not just a certain ethnic group.
But that's not even really what... that's not even what they're saying either. They're not saying Black lives matter more than all other lives. I'm one of those people that doesn't have a problem with saying all lives matter. But a good way to go about this, and I gotta credit my man Mason for, for saying this. Black lives matter because all lives matter. I think that's a good, mindset to have about this whole thing. So, all this is really coming across as you just having an issue just because the word black is in there. That's what this is coming across as.
And there is no such thing as a black race, a white race, a Asian race, Hispanic race, Native American race, and vice versa. Okay?
Using the word...
We are all members of the human race.
Okay.
God created all of us in his image.
Okay, and using the fucking God thing again, but, what you're saying right here is sort of kind of Black Lives Matter's reasoning themselves. So, again, what's the problem?
And if you guys don't believe in God, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't care.
Really? Then why do you have, then why did you go out of your way on your first comment to Damien about UTF? Then why did you go out of your way to complain that, oh, he's an atheist, if you really don't have a problem with people not believing in God? Why did you feel the need to emphasize that when you were giving your problems with UTF?
And if you don't like me bashing abortion videos, then don't watch the damn things. I am not for abortion. I love little babies. I do not like hearing about babies being aborted in the mother's womb.
More often than not, they haven't even developed consciousness yet. This is why I don't exactly have an issue with that, heartbeat bill or whatever it's called and whatnot, because, that's usually when, when we're in the late term and whatnot, when it sort of becomes a bit more of an issue. Usually, if you're going to wait that long, I can understand if it's because you didn't have the money yet to afford the abortion yet until it's the late term and whatnot. I can understand if that's the reasoning. But more often than not, when women wait that long, they're intending on having the baby and whatnot, and at that point, their safest bet is to just have the baby and put it up for adoption and all that if they're not ready for it and whatnot, which we'll talk more about later. But that is sort of the first level of this conversation, so let's continue.
I mean, sure, it's sad that women have to suffer through 9 months of pregnancy.
I mean, it's not always suffering. You know, a lot of the time when they're wanting to have the baby because they are ready for it, you know, more often than not, yeah, you know, the childbirth does, you know, it is painful and whatnot. But, you know, if there's anything that I know about this is that at the end of the day, it'll all be worth it. You know, at least for most people anyway. So not a good idea to generalize.
But murdering a baby in the womb is worse enough.
Worse enough. And so now we're going to articulate more and elaborate more on abortion. And a lot of people consider this to be kind of a touchy subject. They're not very comfortable talking. For whatever reason, I am not uncomfortable talking about this. I have a pretty easy time elaborating my views on this. So, the TLDR is that I'm pro-choice. Because, you know, there are people that are not financially ready to support a child, and they're not emotionally ready to be taking care of a child either. And the people who are not in that financial or emotional position, especially if you know, the guy that knocked them up ran off and whatnot and, you know, never spoke to them and is never speaking to them again, then, you know, usually, like, those are the instances where, you know, it's perfectly fine to be getting an abortion. And like I said before, I can understand if we're in like the late term, I can understand if maybe, yeah, I don't think, you know, it's really necessary at that point, but still, if you're absolutely not in the right position for it, because, you know, this is a big responsibility. You know, taking care of another life, it's a big responsibility, and you need to be in a very specific place for it. And not everybody is in that place. Not everybody has the money for it because, you know, the hospital bill is already expensive enough. But then you also got child support. You got health care. You got food, education, toys, and all that shit that comes with taking care of a child. It's not cheap at all, which is why you need to be in a very particular financial position for it. And you need to be in a very particular emotional position for it. Like me, for example, I don't want kids. I really, really do not like kids, which is why I'm not having them. Because I cannot see myself being in the emotional position for it, and, you know, financial position, I can't really see myself being in it either if we're going to go by the idea of musicians all being broke and penniless and all that. So I can't see myself in being either of the proper positions to be taking care of a child, which is why I don't think it makes sense for me to have a child, which is why if I ever do knock a lady up, then, you know, I'm not going to have an issue with, you know, her getting an abortion and whatnot. I'm not going to stand in her way. In fact, I'd encourage it. Which is why I'm also, you know, always going to be, you know, condom or die and whatnot. I'm not going to be one of these people that thinks, oh, I don't need to wear a condom, not just because I'm not that confident in my pull-out game, but because I just don't want to run the risk and whatnot. And I'm going to be like, nope, you're taking the birth control. You're going to take it. I'm not going to rest until you do, you know, because I'm not running this risk. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is how you save sex. But if you're really irresponsible with this shit, then abortion exists as an option. And if you are, you know, if you personally are just against abortion, that's fine. I'm not the kind of person that is, you know, that shoves, you know, my opinion on it down on people, because I understand people personally not wanting to get an abortion, whether it be because they're against the idea or they just have their own personal reasons for it, which and, you know, if they want to, you know, give birth and put it up for adoption, then okay, you can do that. Or if you even just change your mind and decide to actually raise the child, then fine by me, as long as you're ready for it. It's not for me, but if you want to go that route, then perfectly okay. But if not, that's why abortion exists, and that's why I'm not one of these people saying that it shouldn't exist, that it shouldn't be legal, that it shouldn't be funded, or anything like that. There we go.
Babies.
Because, another thing I forgot to mention, because part of being pro-choice is respecting if someone has the choice to not get an abortion, because pro-choice and pro-abortion don't inherently mean the same thing or anything like that, because people can make the choice to not get the abortion. As long as you're making that choice and it's not being forced on you by anybody else, whether it be your partner or whether it be the fucking government, then you do you.
Should here, let me sneak in a little anti-abortion stuff here.
Oh boy.
If a woman was raped by a rapist / sick-minded blood incestual relative that got her pregnant, the woman should go through 9 months of pregnancy, give birth, and take care of the child, give it all her love, and like I said before, my past videos, if you want to kill somebody, you should be killing the sick-minded blood relative / rapist who got the baby's mother pregnant in the first place.
Okay. This is very, very, very fucked up. And like I said in my comment on Gage's video about this, isn't it kind of hypocritical or inconsistent that you don't have a problem with rapists and incest committers getting killed, but yet when it's a fetus that hasn't even developed consciousness, it's bad? Comes across as really inconsistent, doesn't it? You're okay with these people being killed, but not this. And, I don't even really disagree that, people who commit rape or incest should, be, given the death penalty or anything like that. I don't even really have a problem with that. But it's really inconsistent to say that, abortion is bad, killing an unborn fetus, that's not good, but kill these people, that's okay. And another thing, going back to my views on abortion, if a woman was raped either by a stranger or by their partner or by someone in their fucking family, that should be even more of an impetus for her to want to get an abortion, because for one, babies born through incest tend to have a lot of deformities with them and a lot wrong with them. And for two, if they get raped and whatnot, who's to say that they are already in the financial or emotional position as they got raped? Because more often than not, they're probably not going to be in those positions. So they're not going to say, "Oh, I might have gotten raped, but I'm going to have a baby, yay!" Like, nobody does that. Especially because, the baby is also going to serve as like a permanent reminder of this traumatic experience that they went through. Like, why would anybody want that? Why should anybody want that? This is so fucking stupid. Like, that is the most fucked up thing that was said in this video.
The babies do not deserve to die, damn it.
They haven't become babies yet. Not until much later in the pregnancy. So if it's earlier on, there really shouldn't be an issue because it hasn't developed consciousness. And, not to mention they can be used for stem cell research, which I also don't have a problem with.
Babies are human beings too. They deserve to be loved. They deserve to be taken care of. They deserve to be fed, food and drink, go to school, get their education.
I mean, it's probably not going to stop the kid from being made fun of, like, ha ha, you were born through incest, ha 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 ha, or anything like that. Like, you know. So, you sure about that?
Graduate, go to college, not go to college if they don't want to, get a job, get married, have kids of their own when they're older. Abortion needs to be banned, damn it.
No, you.
It needs to be banned. Transgendered wrestlers and queer wrestlers and lesbian wrestlers need to be banned from pro wrestling companies too.
Why?
They need to be banned from sports companies that are not pro wrestling related.
No.
And if you, like I said, if you don't like me telling the truth like it is,
Which it isn't.
if you don't like me preaching so much, get off my fucking channel. Fucking block me. I don't give a fuck.
Again, if you really don't give a fuck, you would not be making this video. You wouldn't be given this kind of a reaction. Because again, you know, giving this much of a reaction, again, is saying to me and saying to all of us here that you can't handle this. You cannot handle putting yourself out there. You cannot handle being a public figure if you cannot handle anything being said against you. It makes you, you know, an easy target for troll bait. It makes you it gives you kind of a punching bag status, and, you know, makes you, you know, a lol cow, as they say. So, you know, this is not a good route to be going down. And again, this should be setting a great example for anybody who's wanting to make content of their own, or anybody that already is making content of their own. You don't want to find yourself in a position where this is how you choose to fucking address it all and react to it all.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a damn. I don't give a hairy rat's fucking ass.
Yes, you do.
I don't give a flying fuck.
Yes, you do.
F-U-C-K fuck.
Yes, we know how to spell.
Let me spell it for you again. F-U-C-K fuck.
The way he said that was really funny. Like, fuck! And whatnot. Like, channeling his inner fucking pendulette, huh? You know, very impassioned and whatnot. Again, says a lot about how you're letting all this shit get to you and whatnot. And the fact that you are letting it get to you like this speaks volumes about your maturity level and how ready you really are for this. Out of focus. More shit that should be edited out, but you're too lazy to do.
If you don't like listening to my mouth, stay off my fucking YouTube channel.
Don't you worry, I will.
Stop making YouTube response videos to me. I will not put up with any more bullshit.
I will hold you to that. You better not be making any more videos like this addressing criticism or responding to people, you know, because the moment you do, you'll have contradicted yourself, so tread lightly.
I am not a fucking bigot.
Yes, you are. And I'm going to prove exactly how you are a bigot, because this is another pet peeve of mine. Bigot, bigoted, bigotry, these are words that do tend to be thrown around a lot. And people really just don't understand what it actually means. They assume it just means anybody with, you know, hardcore Christian values and far-right beliefs. But here's the thing, and I'm going to pull out my trusty dictionary app for this. Bigot. A prejudiced person who is intolerant of any opinions differing from his own. that should sound familiar. Because, that's exactly what you're acting like. You're acting intolerant of anything that differs from your own, not just because you ban them and delete their comments, but you assert yourself as being the authority on these things and saying that your say is the only way to go around here. Those kinds of people, no matter what side of the political spectrum they're on, no matter what religion or non-religion they're a part of, no matter what, anybody that does that shit and acts as if they're the authority and whatnot, and that they're the boss and whatnot, that right there is bigotry. Bigotry knows no side. Bigotry knows no affiliation. Everybody is capable of being a bigot towards something. And that's something I wish more people understand. It's something you should understand.
Whatever the hell that means.
I just explained what it means, so there you go.
So I'm going to say this one more final time, you asshole YouTubers who have been responding to me in the past, making fun of me in the comments, making fun of me in your videos. If you don't like what I have to say, stay off my fucking channel.
Wah.
If I see any more comments talking shit about me, they're going to be blocked. They'll be deleted. I only support those who support my channel. I do not support those who do not support my channel.
Okay, more, evidence of you just being arrogant and egotistical and all that, I only like you if you agree with me and whatnot. And I'm sure even people he likes are probably going to be like, yeah, this guy, nuh-uh. So I bet that's going to make you feel really good, huh?
So anyways, this is Dustin signing off. This video is probably going on way too long because of me.
Because of you taking very long pauses and repeating yourself a lot.
Getting everything off my chest here.
Sure.
That's just an expression, that's not literal.
That really shows how little you think of people, that you think nobody's going to understand figures of speech. Like, it really should be saying a lot about how little you think of people, that you think you need to explain something like that. That most people will be like, yeah, that's a figure of speech. I don't need this explained.
So anyways, this is Dustin signing off. I will not put up with any more bullshit videos on YouTube
Repetition.
About me. I will not bother responding back. I will not bother watching them.
We will see about that. I'm sure you're going to love this stream's existence, with me giving some very straightforward and logical refutations to pretty much everything that you're saying. I'm sure you're going to love that. Just like I'm sure you're going to love any other videos that might be made and whatnot. I'm sure you're not going to abstain from, watching them because, oh my god, I need to protect my precious ego. Ugh.
Screw abortion.
No.
Screw gay rights.
No, you.
Screw the crooked Black Lives Matter movement.
Mm-mm.
Screw them all. Screw them all.
And that's the end of the video. So. Whew! Baby. Go back to the main window here. So, okay, so what have we learned today? Well, hopefully, the big takeaway from this whole stream is that if you are wanting to be famous, if you are wanting to have an audience, if you're wanting to have a lot of people respect you and support you and all that and treat you kindly and whatnot, you don't do any of this shit. You don't treat people like the way he treated people in that video. You don't act as if you're, entitled to respect, that you're entitled to attention, you're entitled to positive treatment, because you're not. You're no more deserving of it than anybody else. So, this is something that I think all of us can learn from this. Serves as a good example of, all the traps to avoid falling into. And that way, you won't be treated like a lol cow. You won't be treated like a lost cause. You won't be treated as a punching bag. And, everything will be cool from going forward and whatnot. Because it's naive to think that you're never going to have any, instances where someone, whether it be me or someone else, slaps some sense of reality into you and whatnot. Gives you a big old reality check, slaps some sense into you. It's something that you're going to have to deal with at some point in your life. Everybody has to deal with that. And to think that you're going to get by without anything like that, really naive, really close-minded, and is just not a good way to go about things. It's really sad. I feel more I don't even hate this guy. I just feel sad for him. I got really bummed out whenever I see his face, whenever I hear his voice. I get bummed out whenever, he gets brought up in discussion. Because this is shit that nobody should strive to be. This is shit that everybody should strive to avoid. And I like to believe that people have it in them. Like I was talking about in the last stream, the Leafy Isn't Here stream, I do believe that everybody has it in them to improve and change from their mistakes. Dustin, though, all the patterns that I see from him show me and everybody else that he, even though he might have it in him deep down, he certainly is not doing anything about it. He's just continuing to repeat his mistakes and go further and further down the hole of into lost cause territory. And that's sad. Because this isn't even the first time I've seen people do shit like this. I've been on here for years. I've been using YouTube since 2007. I've been making videos on this channel since 2013. I've been around for years. I've seen this happen many times with people in the ranching community, with people outside the ranching community. There have been many people that were really overreactive to criticism and got really upset that they weren't getting the treatment that they wanted, and so they fucking rage quit and they never show their face again. There are many people I could name throughout the history of the community that come to mind when I think of people like that. Dustin is by no means the first, and he will not by any means be the last either. And that's another thing that kind of saddens me, is that this isn't even new. But hopefully this can serve as a showcasing of how and why going down this route basically ruins your chances and pretty much kills any chance you have at, getting to where you really want to be. Because to get to where you want to be, you're going to have to, really work for that. You're going to need to really push yourself to improve and really refine your approach, refine your attitude. And maybe, just maybe, people will respect you. If not, then can't really say I didn't warn you. You know, if you're not going to listen to me or anybody else, then that's your loss, really. You know, I can't really say I'd feel all that sorry at that point. So, I think that is all there is to say about this. Hope you guys enjoyed me ripping into this, because this was really goddamn fun. And I'm sorry for not really engaging with the chat that much, because I just had to, you know, stay on topic and whatnot. But yeah. I look forward to my response to Ranter and Shades bullying me. It will surely be a banger, I'm sure. Like, because like I was saying, you know, you'll know I'm really not a mean guy and whatnot. Or at least I don't try to present myself like a mean guy or anything like that. And I'm not saying that Damien, Gage, and everyone else was being like a mean guy or anything like that. They were making some valid points and whatnot, but people that know me know that I'm not someone that, you know, is like super mean to the people that I'm, you know, giving criticism to. So if you're really going to, you know, freak out about me of all people, again, I think that kind of says a lot about you. I only like freedom of speech if it favors my illusions. Again, people that have that idea just don't really understand the First Amendment as well as they think they do. I don't like this person because he's an atheist. What if I said the same bullshit vice versa about being Christian? Not so smart now, huh? Exactly. My life lessons from the Pennywise video. Yep, Atticus said that in his Pennywise video too, about the nature of what bigotry actually means. I'm bigoted against thoughts. Me too. Bigot can be used as a buzzword, but for this case doesn't as a legit bigot. Exactly. He's ascended past the status of lolcow and gained the title of Rafflecopter so he can fly with how high his pride is. Yes, you know, that's how he's able to get his head so high up in the clouds. The right-wing UTF, pretty much. I am speaking the truth, and if you cannot accept it, then block me. Rawr! If you want to protest by marching out and about, shouting out your messages, go for it. But don't be torching buildings, looting, tearing down monuments, and assaulting or killing people, cops included. Exactly. Thank you, Hair Metal Brony. I love babies. That's another thing that could be taken out of context easily. It reminds me of, like, remember when Cool Cat was a thing that everybody was, you know, dogging on? There was one point where he was like, I love babies! And everyone was just playing that out of context. Hey, don't slander Bobby's people. It's Antifa are rad. Right. What other cool remarks are being said in here? Into the flood again. Dustin likes other men. His mother made a big mistake when this tool she chose to make. I am not guy. Dusty seems like the type to break a sweat every time he sees the hot dogs in the deli aisle of his local supermarket. Takes bong hit. Peace, man. Even if he was to pull the health and safety argument for trans wrestlers not being a thing, he's already refuted himself beforehand by mentioning it's all scripted, meaning there already will be. That's pretty much what I was getting at. Because, you know, if you're playing a character, then you're basically following the script just like everybody else is. You haven't watched wrestling in years, yet your name is WWF Attitude Era. Makes sense. Brainwash, that's an interesting word. he's clearly influenced by somebody. It might not even be a parent. It might be a popular right-wing channel or something like that, or a popular commentator on Fox News or something like that, like Tucker Carlson or something. Mm-hmm. The guy also doesn't understand how lighting works, as the sun from his window is somewhat blinding. It doesn't take too much effort to pull the curtains. Right, that's another problem with his videos, is the shitty lighting and whatnot. Alright, now let me... Makes it even sadder is that he's a 31-year-old grown man, almost 32-year-old, making these videos, and I was someone who gave him advice, and I'm only half his age. There's the door. To me, Dustin reminds me how Homer was brainwashed by Fox News, and he was like, damn liberals. Right, there's that whole scene where he's flipping between the Fox network and Fox News, where the Fox network is showing like a, stripper titty show and whatnot, and he's like, woohoo! And then it transitions, it goes like, woohoo! Liberals! Woohoo! Liberals! Woohoo! Liberals! If Brooks Heatherly had a kid, he'd end up like Dustin. Another thing I just remembered I should also say is that before, Dustin or anybody tries to come at me is like, oh, typical libtard snowflake or anything like that, I'm an anti-SJW myself. But that doesn't mean that, anybody on the right is safe or anything like that. It didn't stop me from making the trap video, and it didn't stop me from doing this. So, yeah. That is how centrism works. Wow, this was so fun. That also reminds me, I think No BS is becoming a dead channel as he is losing thousands of subs. I never gave a fuck about him. He always seemed like really out there and not someone I really want to give attention to. Check your subscription fees when you're done here. Hold on. Let me reload my feed. I'm thinking I'm going to be seeing something. No, I'm not seeing anything. I don't know if Damien is still going through with making anything more towards him. If he does, then okay. Hopefully that's it, though. Because, yeah, I'm really wanting this to be the final nail in the coffin. Because, this basically goes over all the core problems with him and people like him. Sadly, I've ran out of jokes at Dusty's expense. I pretty much used all my good ones here. If I think of any, I'll mention them later. On another note, thoughts on Lacey Green. Used to really not like her, but once she sort of softened up when she started dating Chris Raygun, which I'd love to know if she still is, because I haven't really been hearing anything about that for a while. But that was when, she definitely started, calming down and whatnot, and now I really don't have an issue with her. Far left equals too hot, far right equals too cold. You're hot and you're cold, yes and you're no. You're in and you're out. Or, you know, another song with that same title from a band that I talked about in my Best Glam Metal Bands You Never Heard Of video, Dirty Rhythm. You know she's hot and cold, stone cold lover. She's straight from hell and she's running to another man. I don't need you coming to me with a broken heart. And also, can you imagine if Hi, I Think I'm Real made an Internet Explorer on Dustin? I don't think I have not watched him before, so. Yeah. What I would really love is if Armored Skeptic did a video on him. That would make my day. Stone cold. What was that song you were singing? I couldn't remember the name of it. The first one was Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. The second one was Hot and Cold by Dirty Rhythm. Another right-wing loony I remember is Andy Worski. Thoughts on him? To me, his story is just tragic. Was subbed to him for a bit in like 2016, 2017, but then his videos started becoming really boring, and now I'm hearing he's kind of gone off the rails. Yeah, he's another person that I kind of lost interest in eventually. Like the last time I remember hearing about Worski was when he was supposed to have a fight with somebody, I'm forgetting who, and the person didn't end up showing up, so he just won by default. Alex Jones is at least decent for memes. Yes, he is decent for memes. He is a very good meme. Dustin really doesn't have as much meme material or anything. If somebody can convince Dustin that the cubic time meme is actually reality, then maybe Armored Skeptic might cover him. Otherwise, I don't think he'd touch Dusty's ass, unfortunately. Andy Worski was almost rumored to use coke. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Tonka Saw, that's who it was. Yeah. But yeah, Worski definitely sounds like somebody that probably does some drugs. Tonka Saw was the guy who was challenged by Andy Worski, and he didn't fucking check it out and all that. I remember that. Dustin and UTF are essentially not far off from Alex Jones, given they make all sort of bullshit assumptions. Exactly. You really don't want to be an extremist. You really don't. It's not a good look to have. And, you know, you're going to be alienating a lot of people the more extreme you get on either side. I've seen that happen with many people. UTF being one of those people that I saw it with. Muse being somebody I saw that with. And that's probably the biggest reason why I try to stay out of a lot of political subjects and whatnot, is because I do not want to go down any rabbit hole that would, you know, push me further to either side to the point where I would begin to alienate people and whatnot. It's not the route I want to go. That's why I like making videos on stuff I like. Like the video I'm working on right now that I'm about halfway done editing, actually, is on a much more lighthearted subject than this. Bizarre bullshit assumptions. Making up ludicrous stories to make it fit your illusions is not even close to beneficial for your case. Idea: we lock Dustin and UTF in the Thunderdome and don't open it until one's in a casket, two enter, only one leaves, only available on pay-per-view. Wouldn't that be something? They do also say the topic is the fastest way to lose friends. It definitely is. That's why I don't really post about it a lot on my Facebook either. Or if I do, it's usually a very centrist sounding thing, or I just talk about it more on my page and whatnot, because that's where I feel more safe talking about it. Because I feel like people that follow that page would get it more than people on my friends list. But that's why you really don't see me do it, is because I don't like seeing that happen. That's why there's that saying that the two things you never talk about with people are politics and religion. Oh, that's what Damien was fucking talking about. Dustin Nunn's baby removal clinic. And the thumbnail is a potato with the fucking meme sunglasses and a blunt. Also, thoughts on the now disappeared Mr. Medicare. To me, can't stand his snide, condescending, victim laughing attitude. I could never get into Medicare either. I tried at least twice watching his stuff, but his demeanor just really did not click with me. So, I know a lot of my friends really like him, but yeah, not for me, unfortunately. To me, Medicare reminds me of Nick Wilde of Zootopia, but stripped of any likability. His voice kind of makes me think of Nick Wilde. I guess I can sort of see a similarity there. Yeah. And fun fact, I actually did not actually see Zootopia until this year. So, thoughts on the now disappeared Rage After Storm. Never got into her. Never really seemed that interesting. She was one of those, race realism thing people and whatnot, and it's like, no thanks. If it were 2012 to 2014, My Little Pony would be in that category along with religion and politics. Mentioning it in bronies back in those days was almost guaranteed to start a flame war. Same with friggin' Sonic the Hedgehog and whatnot. Like, those were like the two things that were like insta cringe to people and whatnot. I don't really have a problem with people liking either of those things, just as long as they aren't being total spazzes about it. And speaking of gay, do you think Jimmy of Ed, Edd n Eddy was probably gay? I don't know. I feel like he might have had a bit of a thing for Sarah, and that's why he liked spending time with her so much. So I don't know. I really don't like making the assumption that just because a character is kind of soft, that means they are gay or anything like that. Tell that to Josh Scorcher and Lily Pete. Ugh. I have not heard good things about Lily Pete. It's okay to dislike MLP, just don't be a rabid boomer towards me or Elaine about it. You're not allowed to like a show for little girls. Yeah, and Hey Arnold is still a show I occasionally indulge in for the nostalgia, and that shouldn't be an issue either. So who cares exactly? Lily Pete is the left-wing version, no BS. Also, since I like Hey Arnold, don't you agree Helga's parents are the worst? They absolutely are. Like, you don't need to tell me twice they were terrible. Her whole family is terrible. Really. Oh no, totally not a boomer. Nope. Then again, apathy has always been the best response to anything. Lily Pete's behavior over the years disgusts me. I don't know if you've seen it, but Josh made a full response video about her a while back after their friendship had crumbled. I'm really kind of out of the dark on a lot of that. I've just heard the name Lily Pete before in a very negative light before. So, that's basically always sort of been my reaction. My comment before totally not a boomer didn't show up in the stream. I'm seeing it in my chat window where you're saying I most certainly could vouch on that, unless you're referring to something else. Hey Ranter, found you during the trap drama. Great breakdown and great analysis. I also like your Rock is Dead video. Much respect. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very proud of those videos too. I've seen that video. Honestly, to me, Lily P is just a petty person, honestly. I even feel bad for Olga because of how much of a people pleaser she is, thanks to how emotionally and verbally abusive Helga's dad is. I don't really, mostly because she kind of has sort of, I guess, a bit of an entitlement kind of mentality. Like, one of my least favorite episodes of Hey Arnold is Olga Comes Home, where Helga changes her grade from an A to a B+, and she is just crying in bed for like weeks about a fucking B+ of all things. It's like, come on. It's just a letter. Is it really worth getting this bent out of shape about it? Like, it's gonna happen. Not everything is gonna go your way. That's just a fact of life. That's a big part of why I just really never liked Olga as a character either. I originally said someone told me I did not deserve to listen to Metallica at all because I still am a brony. Oh, God. See you in a bit, Shades. I'm going to cook food. You have 3 guesses for what it is, and your first guess will probably be right. Pizza. If I see you on Discord tonight, you can tell us all about it. Which, wow, that's Friday at 8:30 is usually when those start. So I'll probably be cutting the stream pretty soon. About as stupid as the time I heard about some cockshiners saying to you that they won't watch your videos because of you wearing an Alter Bridge shirt. Right, I think I remember when that was. And hey, look at that. Wearing my other Alter Bridge shirt. Although I'm not going to say why, to say why, and we'd be diving back to a huge fuck up. Did you see that Trap got banned from a Back the Blue concert? I think I heard about that. I remember they played at a gig where there was only like a few people there and whatnot, and it's like, why are you even doing this during a pandemic anyway? Also, I wanted to hear your thoughts on Sturgis Show and Smash Mouth. Sturgis Show, I think I've heard of. Smash Mouth, great meme. I only really know 2 songs of theirs. Just All Star and their version of I'm a Believer. That's really it. I can just sum that up by just saying, somebody. Also, Helga's dad is similar to Prince John in the sense that he's a greedy, petty idiot. Yep. He's very entitled and acting as if his way goes and whatnot. He is a jerk. It was on the video about Bieber. Right, that's the video I mentioned it in. The Justin Bieber video. I get you there. I even still go back to that video sometimes just to listen to something. Smash Mouth headlined the Sturgis show. Oh my god, they did. Oh, jeez. Like, was this show... It was a Back the Blue show, so it was just... I guess it was supposed to be a pro-cop thing and whatnot. And, you know, I'm surprised this never got brought up in the Dustin video, but, I got no problem with cops doing their job, because I think that's what most cops are. Just people wanting to do their job, and, you know, there are going to be some people on the force that probably aren't ready for these things yet. So I got no problem with supporting cops. You just need to sort of acknowledge that there are some cops that probably shouldn't be cops and whatnot. And also the fact that this was taking place during a pandemic, I think is just really a bad idea. Like, I want the shit to end as much as anybody, but, you know, until we're being told to, yeah, not a good time for shows. Cringe alert, Yep. Alright, so I'm going to end the stream here. Wait, actually, no, I'm not. Another fun episode of Hey Arnold was how Oscar tried to learn to read in English. He just didn't know how to read at all. That's one of my favorite Oscar episodes. My favorite Oscar episode would have to be Arnold as Cupid, where Susie kicks him out and he tries finding a place to stay and is just really annoying to Arnold. He gambles his CD player away and plays his fucking saxophone and all that. And I would say that episode kind of birthed a little meme. You keep the money. So that's another thing I like about it. I meant cringe on Smash Mouth. Also, who the hell doesn't like Alter Bridge? People that think that just because 3 of the members are from Creed, that they're basically Creed 2.0 when they absolutely fucking aren't. Like, listening to Cry of Achilles alone, I think should completely challenge that perception. Because, you know, ever since their first album, they just kept building and building and building on their sound. That's one thing I've noticed on all of their albums. They keep building off of it and giving a much more unique experience with each album, which is a really nice flow for a band. I mean, granted, Walk the Sky I don't think is as good as I thought The Last Hero was. For whatever reason, The Last Hero is usually everyone's least favorite. I really like Last Hero a lot. But, you know, still a good experience and is so much more than just, oh, they're basically just Creed 2.0. Bleh. Like, nah, dude. If their mind functioned properly, they'd be like a friend of mine from high school told me how cool it was that a dude at my age could love both rock and metal music and MLP. And with that, thanks for the fun stream as always. Yep. Metalingus, Watch Over You, etc. Amazing. Also, they do amazing covers. I don't think I've seen them. Any of the times I've seen them, I don't think they played any covers and whatnot. I don't think. Apart from before they start playing Blackbird, they play the Beatles. They play the Beatles' Blackbird a little bit. Miles plays it. But yeah, Alter Bridge are incredible, and if you do not listen to them, shame on you. But yeah, this was a very fun stream. So thank you so much for accompanying me on this. Alright. Have a good rest of your evening, guys. Take care. Have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.